Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You can get a job in the Middle East simply by trying or by magic, through others, or by a fluke. Remember that competition is everywhere. Some here, some there, but bam! Loimacito is the best.
In the previous video I had made, I'd spoken about how I chose not to die. And I told you that if you're interested to know, I'll share with you the 7 reasons or the reasons why I chose to live. Now, this is not like I made, okay, I'm going to choose 7 reasons, or I just, in that state of mind when I was completely messed up and all that, and I wanted to kill myself, and things are not working out. One thing led to another, and that kind of gave me hope. So when it gave me hope, I asked myself, okay, if I don't want to kill myself, then what should be the reason to live? What should be the reason? So that is where my brain started to work and think, okay, if I want to live, these are the rules and this is what I want to do. So I just thought I'd share them with you, so that if in case you're going through a tough time, or you're feeling down, or you want hope, or you're just looking for answers, maybe this will help you. And these 7 principles not only changed my life, it not only gave me a reason to live, it made me very successful in terms of my brand, in terms of who I was, what I was. I'll give the 7 core ones, and then if there is anything extra that I feel, okay, this also helped me a little bit, I'll share them with you. But there are 7 core ones. So the first one, the first most important one was, I know this will be the most controversial, but right off the bat, I said there is no God. There's no God, fuck all this is all shit. See, because throughout our lives, we are, right from the time we are a small child, we are taught that there is this guy somewhere in the sky or somewhere in the heavens above, and he's listening to your prayers, and he is there for you, and he will answer you at your time of need. And then you're like, you always believe and hope that, yes, he will listen to me in my time of need. He will be there for me when I call on to him, And to keep him happy, I will do good things. I'll be good to my fellow human being. I'll be good to other people. I'll pray. I'll praise him. So I was taught these basic fundamentals: do good, pray to God, be good, live a good life, and he'll be there for you, So I was definitely not a saint, but I was definitely not a extremely evil person, to the point where when I needed him the most, he was not there. You just imagine, okay, I'll give you a simple example. Just imagine that you and I are friends, okay? You and I are friends, or let's say I'm your boss, and you are always loyal to me, always faithful to me, always praising me, always doing things to make me look good, always doing my bidding, my work, everything. And I always tell you that when you need help, I'll be there for you. And you're like, you literally worship me. And one day when you're in your time of need, when you're really miserable, when you're really dying, when you have nothing, and you're asking me for help, me who's a multi-millionaire, who is rich, who's powerful, who's everything, I'm not responding. Then why the fuck do you need to be loyal or faithful to me? Why? For a God that has everything, heavens and earth and the universe, has all the money. Oh, money he doesn't have, money you have to give him. Has all the power. He can give life, he can heal cancer, he can stop floods, he can create planets, but he can't answer your prayers. Oh, then the religious people say, oh, he's testing you. What fucking testing? What, children who are dying of hunger, eating sand, you're testing them? Small innocent children who get raped, who die from wars, you're testing them? Oh yeah, in heaven they'll have a special place. Who has fucking seen heaven? Who the fuck has seen heaven? You're repeating like a fucking parrot because somebody told you, right? When you're a small kid, someone drilled it in your head that this book is holy, this God is holy, our group, our small little group, religious group is holy, that animal is holy, that statue is holy, this image, drawing of this particular looking creature is holy. You do this, you do that, put this powder, drink this thing, it's holy. Yeah, all this bullshit is taught to us right from word of mouth, right? And we believe it. We don't question it because we are told, you question it, fuck, you have weak faith. So I just accept whatever bullshit you give me. So my first thing was, man, I'm using my fucking common sense here. I need that God whom I pray to today. If you're not fucking there when I need you the most, when I'm going to kill myself, why the fuck do I need you, man? Then where the fuck is this God? Who is this God? What is this God? So right off the bat, decided, fuck all this bullshit that was taught to me. My parents had have faith and they prayed and this. By the way, my parents who were against me because I gave up my religion and they fervently believed in God, they are penniless. They're literally living like on other people's mercy now. Bankrupt. Nothing. So even the church priest, even the Hindu temple, give to God, give. Why? God can't manufacture fucking money. Why you have to give him gold? He has to give you, man. The fuck is this? Go to church, yeah, sacrifice to God, he'll bless you. I can't create money. You can create everything except money, right? So for me, first thing is, there's no, fuck all this God business. Fuck all that. I'm going to take complete, there's no God, nothing. So when you know there's no God, you'll not depend on anyone. Finish. Then that comes to the second principle, personal responsibility. You know, before I used to say, oh, God, where are you? God, where are you? And I used to cry and then, oh, why did it happen to me? Why? Oh, this person, gossiped against me, backstabbed me. Oh, the market went down. Or this happened, that happened. I would look at all the reasons and excuses. Oh, I failed because of this person. My heart broke because of that person. Oh, I lost everything because of this. Oh, the market crashed. I was like, stop all this fucking nonsense. This is all fucking shit. So I said, okay, so what can I do? I'll take personal responsibility. From today, if I succeed, it's because of me. If I fail, it's because of me. If I meet with an accident, even if it is his fault, let's say I'm walking, someone hit me from the back, I obviously couldn't see, I will still take personal responsibility. Let's say there was thunder, shower, typhoon, and my whole house and family and everyone died and everything finished. I'll still take personal responsibility. I'll take it. Because the thing is, when you blame other things, oh, it happened because of nature, because you'll be angry. So I decided I'll look internally. Even though I have nothing got to do with nature or earthquakes or accidents, or the reason being is it empowers you. It makes you pissed off and angry when something happens, and then you focus on, I'm gonna fucking do it by myself. No fucking excuses. So if someone were to make me angry, it's me who made myself angry. And I would channelize this energy, this anger, this rage, this embarrassment, these failures, everything. I would channelize it. I'd internalize it and focus towards achieving success. So there was no room for excuse. Anything bad happened because of me. Anything good happened because of me. So I never gave credit to anybody. It was just me. That's it. I failed because of me. Succeed because of me. Oh, what's the point? Oh, I succeed because of your blessings. But I failed because of what? Your curse? What shit. So the second part was, there's no fucking, just taking complete personal responsibility. Now the next point is in terms of friends. Now this is a rather critical point, I mean, you live your whole life, wanting friends or seeking approval or hoping that you'd find your true friend. There's always somebody you'll hang out with or be with, and as you go through life, when you achieve success, you even meet people who want to associate with you, who want to be your friends. Okay, especially when you become famous and popular. So for me, I wouldn't say that I had many friends, but I had a few. I had a few who were, special or good, and once I used to hang around the whole day, almost the whole day I would hang around with them. Okay, and then obviously there are these people who literally worship me. Law, you're so great, you're amazing. And then there are these others who wanted to always keep in touch with me. Okay. Now the thing was, when I went through my state of crisis, these very same friends, who I was hanging around with, all of a sudden stopped hanging around with me. Why? Because now I didn't have the money to hang around with them. I didn't have the capacity, I didn't have the time, and I needed help. Now the funny thing is, okay, some of them genuinely couldn't help me because they didn't have the money. So they said, sorry man, I can't help you. And the other ones were like, they didn't want to help because they had other priorities. And the third category is, even if they wanted to help, they're like, why the fuck should I help you? We're just friends, we enjoy. I am not here to take care of you, which was understandable. So all those friends vanished. Then these other friends are worshipping me. Oh, Law, you're this, you're that, I admire you, I like you, yeah, blah, blah. They suddenly vanished. They didn't even bother to take my phone calls. I remember when I used to be a director at a company, these guys used to literally call me, sir, where are you? Sir, where are you? I was saying, yeah, I'm driving down to the office. Sir, please come on time, sir. We want to have lunch. We want to have lunch with you. That much of loyalty was there. And I would tell them, see, listen, it'll take 45 minutes. No problem, sir. We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you, and after you come only, we'll eat together. And we used to literally eat together. After I lost my job, well, they were eating comfortably without me. And then you had these other friends who, real examples, huh? There was this guy who, he is still in UAE. He is the owner of many properties and buildings and likes to portray himself larger than life. He used to always tell me, Loy, come down man, let's meet up. He wanted to meet up with me, and you'll not believe. He used to tell me, Loy, I'll send you the Rolls Royce, man. I'll send you my personal driver and the Rolls Royce. Come, I'll pick you up like a king. So I used to joke with him, why don't you send your private jet? He used to laugh. Just imagine, the guy was ready to send me his Rolls Royce or his Bentley just to fucking pick me up. Just to pick me up and take me out and, expensive joints and sit down, because he wanted my ideas and concepts of how to improve his brand. Rich guy. When I lost all my money and I needed help and I asked him, please help me, he said, sure. But this time he didn't send his Rolls Royce. Apparently he was, it was gone for service or something. Okay. So he said, Lloyd, can you come down to the office and this thing. His office was in a big tower. He had a major office there. So I went there. That also sharing cab and this and that and all that. And when I landed down the building, which was Sheikh Zayed Road, if you live in Dubai, you'll know how difficult it is, Sheikh Zayed Road, to go from one side to another if you don't have a car. So after I got down, I was expecting, this guy used to tell me, hello, and he used to come down the office and meet me down at reception, give me a hug, and he was not there. And I came there, the security guard looked at me, yes, can I help you? I said, I'm here to meet that guy. He said, and you're from which company? I said, I'm a friend of his. He just kept quiet. He called up the office. And this, what was that? I think there was this somebody, secretary or someone, who answered. And he kept quiet. Then afterwards he said, please wait a minute. He went inside. There's a storeroom. He came out. He handed me a box. There was a carton box. I was like, and it's taped and written Loy Macedo. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe, I was pretty surprised. I was like, what is in this box? Money, so many things are going through my mind. Money, this, that. So it was slightly heavy. So I said, okay, thanks. I took the box and I went out of the building. After I got a little distance, I kept the box down and I opened it. Now, before I tell you what was in that box, remember, this is a guy who wanted to send his Rolls Royce to pick me up, or his Bentley, filthy rich, has buildings, real estates, property, money, everything. Okay? He was so rich that, he can literally, he can literally take you for a complete world tour and with him while discussing, and he will not even have a single drop of sweat. He is that rich. This guy, who claimed to be, oh, my friend, this, that, and all that, when I was in need, this is what he gave me. I opened the box, and lo and behold, inside that box were biscuits. You know biscuit? Sweet biscuit? Yeah. Biscuits, chips, crisps, yeah. And, that water, when you go to a conference or something, there is that plastic water, okay? And some juice. There was just that. I looked at it, I was like searching, what the fuck is all this? I just looked at this and I just kept quiet. I didn't say a word. I wish I could say that I just threw it off and all that. I was in badly need, so I took it with me and went walking all the way in this heat and sweat. One by one I saw people's true colors. Some of my rich, so-called multi-millionaire friends to literally talk to me every single day and, all this crazy stuff. They didn't even pick up my phone. They just vanished. All of them fucking vanished. People didn't have money. I'll tell you, even $5, even $10, people didn't have to spare. So I told myself, man, if this is what kind of friends they are, who the fuck needs friends, man? Seriously, who the fuck needs friends? What, friends for watching movies? Man, I can rent out a girl and enjoy, and she'll even give me a blowjob at the end, yeah? What, friends for a good time? That I can get anytime. Then why do I call you friends? I'll just call you acquaintance. Like, it's just like having these Facebook friends. You might have 4,000, 5,000. Time of your need, nobody will turn up. Like there's that cartoon on Facebook where this guy is obituary, deathbed, and there were many chairs. And this person asked, like, why did you have so many chairs? He's saying, oh, he had around 5,000 Facebook friends. I thought he would have a massive crowd. Only 3 turned up. Something like that, people used to literally call me from Germany every single day. Hey, Loy, how are you, man? How are things and all that? They just stopped calling, stopped sending messages, everything. So I told myself, no more friends. Enough of this fucking bullshit. So the next principle was, no more friends. Then the next one, the next principle, number 4, money. Money, they say money is the root of all evil. Yes, absolutely. But money is also the most important thing in your life. Money is the root of all good. You go to church, you want to build a mosque, you want to have God answer your prayers in a temple. What do you have to do? Donate. Buy a coconut, that costs money. Buy a candle, that costs money. Give money. The Christian have tith or tithe or whatever shit. Yeah, it's money, right? It looks like the God, Almighty God, He can do everything except money. So when God Himself needs money, to build a mosque, you need to give money. looks like even Allah can't manufacture it by himself. If you give the money, he'll give you enough and more blessings in Jannah. Look at all the bullshit, man. For a God who can give you everything, he can't give you money. So for me, it was very simple. Okay, everything revolves around money. Relationships, money. Friendships, money. You make enemies because of money. So I said, okay, the most important thing from today onwards for me is money. That's it. Nothing doing. Everything will be evaluated in terms of money. Friendships, relationships, whatever, you know. Everything would revolve around money. There'd be nothing without money. So if I made a new friend, it would be he should have money. If I made a choice where to go, it'll either be to make money or save money. So everything revolved around money. And I'll tell you, that made a big fucking difference. For me, my time actually became money. I wouldn't do anything without that money equation into it. And I'll tell you, when you start thinking in terms of money, everything in terms of money, you'll literally change. You'll be surprised to know, or maybe you already know this, some of the richest people, they're very particular even of the pennies, small pennies. They will bargain and negotiate for that one small penny. And that's how some of them become so rich. They save every fucking penny. So the next piece of advice or the life-changing decision that I took was money. Now the next one, after that. Now obviously when you say money, it's, there's always that thing that, oh, I need to work so hard. And yes, I'll tell you one thing. Whomsoever tells you work less, earn more, is fucking taking you for a ride. But the fact of the matter is, I'll have to explain to you in a way that doesn't sound manipulative. Now, you have to work very hard to achieve success. That is a given. But there are ways to work hard. You can either work hard and stupid, like a laborer working for a building construction site in the heat, or you can work hard and be smart about it. In my case, I didn't want to work like a dog and slog and sleep and wake up and work and, then what the fuck is your life? Your life is fucking miserable. You're just working like a dog. I mean, what's the point of living your life if you're going to just work like a dog? Make sense? So I was like, I'm not going to have a life where I just work and pay my bills. Most of the people, their whole life, they're just working to pay their bills. I mean, does it make any sense you work your whole life to pay your fucking bills? I was like, then this is not the way to live life, man. Like some people just work hard to save money for their children and they die. I mean, what the fuck is that? For me, sorry, I'm not one of those guys who works hard only for their children, only to be thrown out, rot and die. So I told myself, okay, I'll work hard and I'll play hard. Means I'll enjoy every moment. I will make sure that day counts. So it's not just about working. Like, see, right now I'm working, but I don't call this work. I enjoy what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I find it so amazing. Every day I get up in the morning, it's like, another sense of fucking joy. It's not like, oh, fuck, I get up. Shit, man, I don't want to go to work. Shit, man, I just want to sleep. No, I work hard, but it's for me. So I enjoy what I do. So the point I want you to keep in mind here is, you should work hard, but you should enjoy what you're doing. Or you should work hard in the sense that you work less and earn more. So where I enjoy a particular task, I work more at it. Where I don't enjoy a particular task, like dealing with other people, and sometimes it can get a bit too much, I charge them more, so I have to work less with them. End of the day, see, we are all working to make money, okay? Let's understand that. We are all working hard to make money. So you might as well make money and enjoy making it, right? Because I'll tell you one thing, the most miserable way to live is you work hard to pay your bills. Trust me, that is miserable. If you're working hard to pay your bills, I mean, what kind of fucking life is that? Yeah. So that was not my way of living. Then point number 6, this one will be slightly controversial because it will question your ethics and morals. And that is the success at all costs. Now, what do I mean by this? See, there are some people who believe, okay, you should succeed but follow your ethics, morals, rules. And yes, there should be a line that you should not cross. For example, in my case, I'll never cross the line where it can kill someone or, you know, let's say, destroy their lives or, okay? However, when given a choice between me and that other person, I'll always choose me. And so when I made up this mind that success at all costs, what does that mean? Beg, borrow, steal, cheat, lie, falsify stuff. The question of ethics and not being ethical, the question of doing things which are right and not doing right, you just throw it out of the window. See, why do you think there are so many ladies who live simple lives and who are honest, but then because there is no job, there's nothing to do, they end up having sex with other men and for cash? Why do they do that? Well, because there is no choice. You'll say, yes, there's always a choice. What is the choice? What, be a maid, earn $5 an hour or $15 an hour? Is that the choice? And you work your whole life like that and hope after 5 years or 10 years you get something better than that? Sleep with one guy, okay, you make some shitload of money, do this 10-20 times, got your money, stop it. I know so many girls who got into prostitution because they didn't have a choice. They made enough money to save money for their college or whatever, or to travel to another country or save money and get a new life, and they migrated, and they didn't do it because they wanted to do it. Yeah, you'll say, oh Aloy, that is unethical and all that. Who the fuck cares, man? Your fucking ethics doesn't feed anybody. Keep your ethics to yourself, nah? See, that is why if you actually see, there are so many people who are fraudsters, there are so many people who cheat and lie and do all this bullshit. They get away with it because they are using the loopholes. Yes, there are people who do get caught. Yes, 100%. But there are plenty who never get caught. And to feel good, we'll say, yeah, one day in hell they will suffer, or afterlife. Who the fuck has seen afterlife here? So the important thing is, you want to succeed, do it at all costs, but be ready to pay the price. Because if you do get caught, it's your ass. And like the previous point I said, take personal responsibility. So good, bad, ugly, right or wrong, you make the call, you pay the price for it. So you'll enjoy the reward if you manage to get away with it, and you'll pay the price for it if you have made a mistake. And last, if not the least, the last final principle. Final. Always remember, you just have one life. I always tell you, one fucking life, just one. And this is all that there is. People like to say, yeah, afterlife there is, after you die, then, yeah, you have seen it? No, but I know it. What you know? How do you know you don't go to some fucking matrix or alien race, or how do you know? This is all bullshit, man. There's just one fucking life. And this is all that there is. After you die, Lloyd, what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of life for an earthworm? What is the purpose of life for this plant? Where does the plant go? Where does the worm go? Where does a dog go? Oh, they don't have a soul. How do you know there is a soul? What, you have seen it? What is a soul? We all get this hocus pocus bullshit, no? And we like to buy and believe into all these concepts to feel good. The fact is, of what we know, I'm not talking what we don't know. What we don't know, there is plenty. Maybe there are other planets also, there are alien race, and there is not these gods that we pray to, there is some other alien race god. How do we know? Maybe there's Superman, Spider-Man, unicorn, you know. So let's focus on what we know. And what we know is one life, and this is all that there is. After this life is over and done with, your life is over. There's no more life after that. Okay? There's no more life after that. So make sure that this one life is worth it. Make sure that it's worth living. See, I've told my wife, if tomorrow I become paralyzed and you have to feed me with a tube and you have to remove shit by putting your hand or some instrument up my rectum and removing it out, better than that I fucking die, man. Who the fuck wants to stay like that? What the fuck is that? I don't want to live like that. Fuck you, I don't want to live like that. I would rather prefer euthanasia. There are people who are suffering from arthritis or the most painful bone cancer, and they want to go on, and people applaud their courage. What fucking courage? What, do you live for the next 100 years of your life just like that? Just for a few compliments? I'm sorry, I'm not interested. Not me, at least. So my mantra was very simple. One life. And if I live this one life, I will live it meaningfully. Or I'll not live it at all. It's as simple as that. I will live my life fucking meaningfully. So, what does meaningful mean? It's different from person to person. For me, it was being absolutely happy, enjoying every moment, and making the most out of it. Otherwise, it's not fucking worth it. So, just to encapsulate all these rules. See, I'm not saying that these rules are universal or this is the best rule. No, these are the rules that worked for me. Okay? They are the rules that worked for me. They are the rules that helped me change. They are the rules that defined me who I am. There is, however, one ultra important one that if you want, I will tell you, but maybe at the next video, because I don't want to give you too many points in this video. So I hope these 7 points that I gave you added some perspective and some value. So I don't know if you'll even watch this whole video, but if you do, I hope it gives you some perspective. So let me know, what do you think? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? I'm always interested to listen to your views and your opinion. Anyway, having said that, this is me signing off. You guys take care.